Well, I hope this is in the right position. Also, I speak quietly, so I have to raise my voice. This is a daily reading, Genesis 26 and Matthew 26. I read from the Institute for Scripture Research, the ISR, because it takes a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Greek to English, and Aramaic to English. Yah is the Elohim of the heavens and the earth, the first and the last and the only, and he's an extremely jealous El. He's so jealous that he doesn't even want the names of idols or mighty ones to come to our lips, and Yah is short for YahWeh, YahWeh, Yod-He, Vav-He. It's like saying Dan, Daniel, Daniel with an E. What is a difference and does matter is when people say that Phil, Bob, Sam, and Aaron are the same name when no, they're not, and no one in their right mind would ever believe that, and only a fool would believe that a hammer can force its creator to do anything, and there was no letter J in the Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic texts, because the letter J is about 600 years old, while the son of Elohim, Yahushua, the Messiah, sweat blood and was brutally murdered on a stake for the sins of all of humanity and resurrected on the third day for the sins of all of humanity over 2,000 years ago. In a direct translation from Hebrew to English, Yeshua, which is short for Yahoshua, is Joshua, and the son of Elohim's name, Yahshua, which is short for Yahoshua, means Yah is salvation. Yah will save his people from their sins. Jesus is Greek for Hail Zeus. The Bible, or the word says, Bible word, I just prefer to call it the word, but Bible is just another name for it. I'm not going to kill you over saying Bible, okay? Just like I wouldn't kill you over saying cross or stake. But I am going to crush your spirit if it comes to you saying Baal God is YahWeh, because that is not true at all. When people say Lord God, they're saying Baal God. There is only one God, and that is the pagan idol of fortune. There is no other. Once you get over the idea that these other idols are not gods because there is only one God, which is the pagan idol of fortune, it is an idol, or a mighty one, lowercase letters, it completely negates anyone's idea that YahWeh is a god, because he's not a god. He's the creator of the heavens and the earth. A god is some idol that has you have to carry it wherever it goes because it doesn't walk. It does no good, it does no evil, it does nothing. It's just something people created to worship because they didn't want to worship Yah. Genesis 26 and Matthew 26. Let's get into this. I'm trying to get closer here. Sorry, I'm adjusting this because I don't want it to be quiet. And it's early and people are still asleep, so I'm lowering my voice, but moving it closer, therefore it won't sound like I'm really lowering my voice. In hopes, anyways. Genesis 26, and there was a scarcity of food in the land besides the first scarcity of food which was in the days of Abraham, A-B with a line underneath of it, R-A-H-A-M, which in English there's no line underneath the B. There are quite a few names that are very, very similar and quite a few names that just aren't. And to say just because some of those names that sound familiar means that they're all going to sound familiar is a very foolish thought. I used to think like that, and now I train people not to think like that because that is a stupid mentality. It doesn't sound like the way it is. Like Mitzrayim, it doesn't sound like Egyptian, so I just can't take that. But Joshua, Yahoshua, see, that makes sense. Like, dude, it's a different language. Of course some things are going to sound the same, but that doesn't mean you should just assume that all of them are going to be the exact same, identical to English. So that's not true either. Take Mitzrayim, for instance. Mitzrayim is Egypt, but Jacob is James. But Abraham is Abraham. And Hosea is Hoshea. Anyways. Abraham. And Yitzhak, Y-I-T-S-H with a dot A-Q, went to Abimelech, A-B with a line underneath of it, I-M-E-L-E-K with a line underneath of it, sovereign of the Philistines, P-H-I-L-I-S-T-I-N-E-S in Gerar, G-E-R-A-R, and Yahweh appeared to him and said, do not go down to Mitzrayim, M-I-T-S-R-A-Y-I-M, which is Egypt. Live in the land which I command you, sojourn in this land, and I shall be with you and bless you, for I give all these For I give all these lands to you and your seed, and I shall establish the oath which I swore to Abraham your father, and I shall increase your seed like the stars of the heavens, and I shall give all these lands to your seed, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Because Abraham obeyed my voice and guarded my charge, my commands, my laws, and my Torah, teaching, Torot. Plural of Torah teaching. Anyways, the point is, people are like, well, Abraham believed and that was good enough. Well, no, because he believed, he obeyed Yahweh's voice. He guarded Yahweh's charge. He followed Yahweh's commands. He followed Yahweh's laws, and he followed Yahweh's Torah. He did that because he believed. You just saying you believe means absolutely nothing. Nothing to him and nothing to us. You either prove that you believe by doing what he says to do, or you're not a believer at all. And Yitzchak dwelt in Gerar, and when the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, "She is my sister," lying yet again. For he was afraid to say, "She is my wife," thinking, fancy English, thinking. So he was thinking it. It wasn't told to him. It wasn't anything like that. He just thought it. Lest the men of the place should kill me for Ribkah, R-I-B with a line underneath of it, Q-A-H, because she is good looking. And it came to be when he had been there a long time that Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines, looked through a window, and he watched and saw Yitzchak playing with Ribkah his wife. So Abimelech called Yitzchak and said, "See, truly she is your wife, so how could you say she is my sister?" This is the second time that Abimelech has been lied to, but from Yahweh's people specifically. It doesn't matter about all the other fakey flake non-believers, okay? That doesn't matter, because they do that all the time. But when it comes from a believer, it's something else, because they're not supposed to do that, and they should know they're not supposed to lie. But Abimelech twice now has been lied to, once from Abraham and once from this guy. It's a family lineage to lie to sovereigns about your wives by the seams of it. Poor Abimelech. Can't trust anyone's word these days, not even the believers. So Abimelech called Yitzchak and said, "See, truly she is your wife, so how could you say she is my sister?" And Yitzchak said to him, "Because I said, lest I die on account of her." And Abimelech said, "What is this you have done to us? One of the people had almost lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us." And Abimelech commanded all his people, saying, "He who touches this man or his wife shall certainly be put to death." Also want to point out, if that guy had slept with her, not only would she be stoned to death, but so would he. Both of them would have been stoned to death. I can't believe she almost laid with someone else knowing full well she was married. What a whore. That's what a whore does. Sleeps with another man knowing full well she's married. That's a whore. She almost laid with someone. She almost had sex with somebody else. Stoned to death. Whores were stoned to death. And Yitzchak sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and Yahweh blessed him. And the man grew great and went forward until he became very great, and he came to have possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great body of servants. And the Philistines envied him, and the Philistines had stopped up all the wells which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham his father, and filled them with dirt. Wow. Pathetic. "We're jealous because you have more stuff. Let's make life harder for you. Oh, woo-hoo." Sounds American. "We don't like what you do, so we're going to destroy it all." And Abimelech said to Yitzchak, "Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we." Sorry, bumped that. So Yitzchak went from there and pitched his tent in the Wadi Gerar and dwelt there. I just want to point out that he left. So all those wells that they literally just filled with dirt and covered up. Now they have to dig out all those holes again and unblock it just so they can use it. Instead of just saying what they said in the first place, please go somewhere else because you're too mighty for us. And keeping all those wells. No, they were so selfish that they ruined it for themselves as well. It's sad. And Yitzhak dug again the wells of the water which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham, and he called them by the names which his father had called them. But when Yitzhak's servants dug in the wadi and found a well of running water there, the herdsmen of Gerar strove with Yitzhak's herdsmen, saying, the water is ours, the water is Yahweh's. You don't own anything, you stupid fool. And he called the name of the well Esek, E with a half a check mark, S-E-Q, because they strove with him, and they dug another well, and they strove over that one too, and he called its name Sitnah, S-I-T-N-A-H. Why don't you just stick a fence around it and put your name on it, and then when you see them messing with it, you send your archers over there. Problem solved. You don't shoot at them. Like, I'm not condoning them, like, murdering them, but, like, if you stand there with, like, even 10 archers and be like, oh, no, we're just guarding this, don't come near it. I almost guarantee you a bunch of herdsmen are not going to go near it. Guard your stuff. Then again, Yahweh guards them. Yahweh would keep them safe anyways. I'm just thinking like a human. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not strive over it. And he called its name Rehoboth, R-E-H with a dot, O-B with a line underneath of it, O-T-H, and said, For now Yahweh has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And from there he went up to Beersheba, B-E-E with a half a check mark, R-S-H-E-B with a line underneath of it, A. And Yahweh appeared to him the same night and said, I am the Elohim of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you, and shall bless you and increase your seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built a slaughter place there, and called on the name of Yahweh, and he pitched his tent there, and his servants of Yitzhak dug a well there. And Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzath, A-H with a dot, U-Z-Z-A-T-H, one of his friends, and Pickle, P-I-K with a line underneath of it, O-L, the commander of his army. And Yitzhak said to them, Why have you come to me, seeing you have hated me, and have sent me away from you? But they said, We have clearly seen that Yahweh is with you. And we said, Please, let there be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you do no evil to us, as we have not touched you. You may not have touched them, but you touched all their stuff. And as we have done only good towards you, you liars. You didn't do good towards them. If you had done good towards them, you wouldn't have pushed them away so far by doing non-stop evil to them, you stupid fools. Yahweh will show you without partiality. And let us make a covenant with you that you do no evil to us, as we have not touched you, and as we have done only good toward you, and have sent you away in peace by destroying all your stuff that you had in the field so that you would move away. That's what we call peace. Even in Genesis, good will be evil and evil will be good. To non-believers, of course. You are now blessed by Yahweh, and he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. What do you mean? They were blessed by Yahweh because of your presence in the first place. Maybe if they had acknowledged that, it would have been different. And they rose early in the morning and swore an oath with one another, and Yitzhak let them go, and they departed from him in peace. And on the same day it came to be that the servants of Yitzhak came and informed him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, We have found water. So he called it Shibah, S-H-I-B with a line underneath of it, A-H. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. So look up Beersheba and look for the well Sibba. Beersheba is B-E apostrophe E with a half a check mark, R-S-H-E-B with a line underneath of it, A. Just so you don't have to go listening through my video again. Beersheba is the place, the city, and look for the well Shibba, S-H-I-B with a line underneath of it, A-H. And when Esau, E with a half a check mark, S-A-W, was 40 years old, he took as wives Yehudith, Y-E-H-U-D with a line underneath of it, I-T-H, the daughter of Beri, B-E apostrophe E with a half a check mark, R-I, the Hittite, H with a dot, I-T-T-I-T-E, and Basmath, B-A-S-E-M-A-T-H, the daughter of Elon, E with a half a check mark, L-O-N, the Hittite, H with a dot, I-T-T-I-T-E. By the way, you're only supposed to have one wife. YahWeh made Adam and Hawa, or Adam and Eve, not Adam and Eve and 6 other concubines. And they were a bitterness of spirit to Yitzhak and Ribkah. Yeah, well, maybe you shouldn't have married them. Oh, it was Esau that married them, yeah. Well, Yitzhak and Ribkah should leave because this clown is full of himself, clearly. I mean, he gave his birthright away for a bowl of soup. Clearly, he's a loon. He could have gotten up and made the food himself and still would have been fine. But his younger brother, being so selfish, he was willing to sell his own brother a bowl of soup for his birthright. Adam and Eve. YahWeh made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Eve and 6 other concubines. It even says it in the very beginning. For this cause a man shall leave his father and cleave to his wife. Not wives, wife. As in there's only one. People can take that however they want, but that's what the word says. One wife. Not 2, not 3, not 4. 1. Matthew 26, and it came to be, when Yahushua ended all these words, he said to his taught ones, you know that after 2 days, the P-E with a half a check mark, S-A-H with a dot, takes place, and the son of Adam, A-D with a line underneath of it, A-M, is to be delivered up to be impaled. 2 days after the Passover, he will be executed. Well, delivered up to be impaled. There's still the process of being judged and then impaled. But 2 days after the Passover is when he gets executed for doing nothing but preaching the word of Yah. Typical of the Pharisees to do such a thing. I mean, they did it to all the other prophets, and every wise person who spoke out against them before their exile was executed. How dare you speak rudeness and violence in this time of need? We need to be saved. Pathetic. Then the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people came together at the court of the high priest, who was called Kêpha, Q-A-Y-A-P-H-A, and plotted to seize Yahushua by trickery, because they couldn't find anything on him, because he wasn't breaking Torah, he wasn't violating Yah's word, which is why the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the elders and all those people had to trick the people into killing him, and plotted to seize Yahushua by trickery and kill him. But they said, not at the festival, lest there be an uproar among the people. And when Yahushua was in Beth-Anah, Beth is B-E with a half a check mark, Y-T-H, Anya is A-N-Y-A-H, at the house of Shimon, S-H-I-M'-O-N, the leper, a woman came to him having an alabaster flask of costly perfume, and she poured it on his head as he sat at the table, and when his taught ones saw it, they were much displeased, saying, "To what purpose is this waste?" They weren't even upset that she dumped perfume on his head. They were upset because it was wasted perfume, because she had the most expensive perfume she had, and she dumped it on his head. She knew he was going to be killed, and she anointed his head with her perfume. Nobody else did that. For this perfume could have been sold for much and given to the poor. However, when Yahushua noticed it, he said to them, "Why do you trouble the woman? For she has done a good work toward me. For you always have the poor with you, but me you do not have always. For in pouring this perfume on my body, she did it for my burial. Truly I say to you, wherever this good news is proclaimed in all the world, what this woman has done shall be spoken of also to her remembrance." HalleluYah. Then one of the 12, called Yehuda, Yehud, with a line underneath of it, AH, from Querioth, Qerioth, went to the chief priests and said, "What would you give me to deliver him to you?" And they counted out to him 30 pieces of silver. So Yehuda from Querioth believes that Yahshua Messiah's life is worth 30 pieces of silver. And from then on he was seeking an occasion to deliver him up. And on the first day of unleavened bread, the taught ones came to Yahshua, saying to him, "Where do you wish us to prepare for you to eat the Passover," the Pesach? And he said, "Go into the city to a certain man and say to him, the teacher says, my time is near. I am to perform the Pesach at your house with my taught ones." And the taught ones did as Yahshua had ordered him and prepared the Pesach. And when evening came, he sat down with the 12. And while they were eating, he said, "Truly I say to you, one of you shall deliver me up." And they were deeply grieved and began to say to him, each of them, "Master, is it I?" Obviously, the one who did it is going to be the most guilty looking. I can't believe he acted all innocent here. For 30 pieces of silver. It's like chunk change. It's like someone giving you $5 to go to the store and be like, "Yeah, no, this is the guy you want." Right here, he's in the chicken aisle. He's standing there next to all the sheep. We should just do him in. He hasn't done anything. Don't worry about it. That doesn't matter. I just want my 30 pieces of silver. The love of silver, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Not the root of all evil, but the root of all kinds of evil. Indeed, and he answering said, "He who has dipped his hand with me in the dish, he shall deliver me up." So he told them right there, all they had to do was watch. Who is going to dip their hand in the dish with the Messiah? That person will be the one who delivers him up. Indeed, the son of Adam, AD with a line underneath of it, AM, goes as it has been written concerning him. But woe to that man by whom the son of Adam is delivered up. It would have been good for that man if he had not been born. And Yehuda, he who delivered him up, answering said, "Rabbi, is it I?" Shut up. He said to him, "You have said it." That should be proof enough. When someone says, "You said it," I didn't say it, you said it. "Rabbi, is it I?" He said to him, "You have said it." If the other 11 were listening, they would have kicked him out right then and there. But no, they weren't listening. As I've noticed throughout this, they don't really listen all that much. They do a lot of like, Like, they'll listen to what Yahushua says, but then when it comes to, like, just regular talking, they don't really pay attention all that much. I probably would have totally, I want to say I would have gotten that, but at the same time, I think it might have just gone over my head too. Knowing full well that the Passover is going to be one of the last times I'll be seeing him, I probably would be thinking about something else, and that would probably slip over my head too, but my goodness. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread, and having blessed, broke, and gave it to the taught ones, and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." This is a remembrance of his body. You're not actually eating somebody's flesh when you eat the bread, okay? It is a remembrance. And taking the cup and giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood, that of the renewed covenant," not new covenant. For all those Looney Tunes who are like, see the old covenant. No, there isn't an old covenant. It's a renewed covenant, because you're no longer doing blood sacrifices, because Yahshua Messiah became the ultimate blood sacrifice. And of course, circumcision is now circumcision of the heart. Everything in the Torah is still doable. It's still to be done. It's just that instead of doing blood sacrifices, which, by the way, when Yahshua Messiah returns, we will go back to doing blood sacrifices. The people, we will all be one. It'll be the people, and then the high priest, which is Yahshua Messiah, and then the sovereign, which is YahWeh. There will be no government. It'll be Yahshua Messiah and YahWeh. That's it. And everybody will work together for the betterment of everybody for the sake of YahWeh. HalleluYah. That is literally the definition of communism. I don't care what people call communism or what people call liberal or what people call anything. What the definition says is what stands in my mind. Like China. China is not communist. Not at all communist. They are one of the most fascist countries in the entire world. And people say they're communist because, the government owns everything? But that's not the definition of communism. This consistent poor people literally flooding our streets is because of capitalism for the rich. Capitalism can only be for the rich, because there's always going to be poor people and people starving in the streets as long as we have capitalism. And fascism, well, that's just rampant in this. I call it the Western world. Instead of saying America and Mexico and Canada and the entire NATO, I just say the Western world. The Western world, NATO and its allies. They are very fascist and very capitalistic, and look at how many poor people they have in their country that are literally starving and dying. Way more than any communist country. And to be honest, there is no communist country out there. Even Russia isn't communist. They're the closest thing to communist, which is kind of the reason why they literally have no world debt. Their homelessness is really low compared to other countries. Every country has homelessness, okay? Their constitution is one of the best in the entire world, which more than 70% of their country agrees to do. Did I mention they have no world debt? Did I mention that they also never invaded in the Middle East? They were only asked by the legitimate government, which of course the Western world doesn't agree with the legitimate government, because any government who doesn't side with stealing oil and resources and building their own Halliburton pipeline, which by the way is an American company, then they're the bad guys. They're the terrorists. Don't look at all those videos, those thousands of videos of terrorists being escorted by military vehicles, military helicopters, Apaches, U.S. Apaches, or Toyota. Oh, we don't know where all of our stuff goes to. Keeps on selling them to ISIS. Keeps on selling them to the Taliban. Oh, we don't know where the stuff goes. You can claim all your ignorance all you want, But when judgment day comes, we are all accountable for our own actions, and I will stand there knowing that I did wrong. At least I tried to do right, and not this garbage pretend ignorance of what's going on in the world and claiming that you're the good guy. No, you're not. Canada, America, we are the worst of the worst. We live in the whore of Babylon. We live in the whore. We're not the good guys. We never were. My country specifically, the RCMP was built to kill off the natives and to force them from their homes so that we can build a stupid railroad. Look how they're treated today. Their treaties mean nothing. We crap all over their treaties. So does America. They're just as bad. They were built off of slavery. Columbus was a slave trader, slave master. The guy murdered over 500,000 people in less than a year because he wanted their spices and their gold. Tell me that's freedom? You're a fool. I'm getting off topic because of silver. Anyways. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread, and having blessed, broke and gave it to the taught ones, and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And taking the cup and giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood, and of the renewed covenant." Oh, it was talking about the renewed covenant. Yeah, renewed, not new, which is shed for many for the forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I shall certainly not drink of this fruit of the wine from now on till that day when I drink it anew with you in the reign of my Father. And having sung a song, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Yahushua said to them, "All of you shall stumble in me this night. For it has been written, I shall strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered." The shepherd is Yahshua Messiah. Zechariah, I believe it's Zechariah 13:7. It says A. See also MQ, which I believe is Mark 14:27, and YN, I believe is John 16:32. Could be mistaken on both of those. Oh, there I go, talking quiet again. I'm sorry. "But after I have been raised, I shall go before you into Galil, Galil, and Kêpha, Ke with a half a check mark, Pha, answering said to him, Even if all stumble in you, I shall never stumble." Don't lie to yourself. Yahushua said to him, "Truly I say to you that this night before the cock crows, you shall deny me 3 times. Kêpha said to him, "Even if I have to die with you, I shall not deny you." All the taught ones said the same too. Then Yahushua came with them to a place called Gethsemane, Gethsemane, and said to the taught ones, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." And he took with him Kêpha and the 2 sons of Zebedee, Zab with a line underneath of it, Dai. And he began to be grieved and deeply distressed because he knows he was literally sweating great drops of blood, which, by the way, I looked up, is a real condition caused by extreme fear. He knows what Sheol is like, and he doesn't want to go there, but he's going to spend 3 days there in darkness and gnashing of teeth for 3 days, which is why he's extremely distressed and extremely grieved, because he knows what's going to happen to him, and he knows that that time was literally at his doorstep. Then he said to them, "My being is exceedingly grieved, even to death. Stay here and watch with me." And going forward a little, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, "O my Father, If it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I desire, but as you desire. So as Yah desires, fancy English desire, talking about Yahweh's desire. And he came to the taught ones and found them asleep, and said to Kêpha, So were you not able to watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into trial. The spirit indeed is eager, but the flesh is weak. Again he went away a second time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it is impossible for this to pass unless I drink it, let your desire be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them, went away again, and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then he came to his taught ones and said to them, Still sleeping and taking rest? See, the hour has come near, and the Son of Adam is delivered up into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. See, he who delivers me up has come near. And while he was still speaking, see, Yehuda, one of the 12, with a large crowd with swords and clubs, came from the chief priests and elders of the people, and he who was delivering him up gave them a sign, saying, Whomever I kiss, it is he, seize him. And going straight up to Yahushua, he said, Greetings, Rabbi, and kissed him. And Yahushua said to him, Friend, why have you come? Then they came and laid hands on Yahushua and seized him, and look, one of those with Yahushua put out his hand and drew his sword, and striking the servant of the high priest, he cut off his ear. Then Yahushua said to him, Return your sword to its place, for all who take the sword shall die by the sword. For all who take the sword shall die by the sword. Or do you think that I am not able to pray to my Father now, and he shall provide me with more than 12 legions of messengers? So each legion is 2,000. 12. So 24,000 soldiers in an instant. 12 legions of messengers. How then would the scriptures be filled that it has to be this way? In that hour Yahushua said to the crowds, Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs to arrest me? Daily I sat with you, teaching in the set-apart place, and you did not seize me. It's because they were afraid. But all this came to be so that the scriptures of the prophets might be filled. Then all the taught ones left him and fled. All the taught ones left him and fled. And those who had seized Yahushua led him away to Kêpha, Qayapha, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were gathered together. But Kêpha followed him at a distance to the courtyard of the high priest. Oops, that was probably loud. My bad. It was scratching, and I have it so close to me that I just touched it and it flew. So sorry about that sound. That's probably really annoying. But Kêpha followed him at a distance to the courtyard of the high priest, and he went in and sat with the servant to see the end. And the chief priests and the elders and all the council were seeking false witness against Yahushua to put him to death, but found none. False witness. They were looking for false witness. That should be more proof enough that they also didn't find anything, because he didn't break any laws. They just didn't like what he was saying. Hence why they needed a false witness. Hence why they needed to arrest him via trickery. He didn't do anything wrong. And the chief priests and the elders and all the council were seeking false witness against Yahushua to put him to death, but found none. Although many false witnesses came forward, they found none. But at least 2 false witnesses came forward and said, This one said, I am able to destroy the dwelling place of Elohim and to build it in 3 days. I mean, is that really a false witness? The entire city is going to get crumbled. And the high priest stood up and said to him, Have you no answer to make? What do these witness against you? But Yahushua remained silent. So the high priest said to him, I put you to oath by the living Elohim that you say to us, If you are the Messiah, the son of Elohim. It wasn't a question, it was a statement. The son of Elohim. Yahushua said to him, You have said it. Besides, I say to you, from now on you shall see the son of Adam sitting at the right hand of the power and commanding on the clouds of the heaven. Then the high priest tore his garments, saying, He has blasphemed. Why do we need any more witnesses? See, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think? And they answering said, He is liable to death. Then they spat in his face and beat him, and others slapped him, saying, Prophesy to us, Messiah, who is the one who struck you? And Kêpha sat outside in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him, saying, And you were with Yahushua of Galilee. But he denied it before them all, saying, I do not know what you say. And as he was going out into the porch, another girl saw him and said to those there, And this one was with Yahushua of Nazareth, Natsareth. But again he denied them an oath, I do not know the man. And after a while those who stood by came to him and said to Kêpha, Truly you are one of them too, for even your speech gives you away. Then he began to curse and to swear, saying, I do not know the man. And immediately a cock crowed, and Kêpha remembered the word of Yahushua, who had said to him, Before a cock crows, you shall deny me 3 times. And going out, he wept bitterly. Well, after denying him 3 times, he could have easily turned back and just been like, No, I may have denied him 3 times, and that was a mistake. I am with him. Could have done that, but he didn't. I would bitterly weep too, knowing full well that what he just said to me is going to happen, because he said it to me. And it's not that because he said it to me it's going to happen. It's because he already knew what was going to happen, and he told him what was going to happen. It's not that Yah made that happen. It's just that he knew previously beforehand, being part of YahWeh, knew full well that this man was going to do it, so he just told him what he was going to do. There's a major difference to making someone do something and letting you know what you already know is going to happen. Anyways, this has been today's daily reading. Hallelujah.